My 27M girlfriend's 25F dad is dying and she wants to get married before he passes. I met her 6 years ago, we dated a while, broke up because of long distance and other issues and picked up again about a year ago. Our 1-year anniversary is coming up in a few weeks. I love her very much and when I think about my future, it's always married to her. She's also been very interested in getting married from when we've scrolled through her Instagram feed and also a few conversations we've had. I even know what type of ring she would like. Her dad is dying, I won't go into too much detail about it, but it looks like a few months at most. He just got the final prognosis yesterday. It's been a really tough time for her and I could only do so much to provide comfort since they left the country for treatment. Today she point blank told me she wants her dad to walk her down the aisle. There are a few issues. Here, I'm dealing with chronic depression. I'm in debt because I lost my job due to it and only recently got a new job last week. I had to send my dog to stay with my brother because I couldn't afford dog food, care, or a place to live. This was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do and it did not help with the depression at all. I'm currently staying with a friend while I try to get back on my feet. In short, my life is in shambles financially and overally. She has been my strongest support during what I feel are some of the darkest times of my life. Her family is relatively well off and her dad has hinted that he would be willing to help out with whatever costs there are. My family don't like her, because when we first dated 6 years ago, she was unfaithful. I've forgiven her, we've made up over it. We've both matured and grown a lot since then. I don't see that happening again, but my family still don't like her over it, so not a lot of support from them on this. These have given me a little bit of hesitancy, and I just want some general advice or something to consider that I may have not thought about to help me make a decision on pulling the trigger now. Should I propose to her? Too long did not read. My girlfriend would like us to get married in a few months so her dad can walk her down the aisle before he passes. I feel I am not ready. Don't officially get married. You're not ready. Even if you took out personal issues, the fact you're posting here means you're not ready. You can maybe have a big, promise, ceremony, the sort of can be a grand celebration, but is not an actual marriage. A marriage should only take place when both parties are 100% in agreement. A marriage should never take place when an outside party, in this case your girlfriend father, puts pressure on you. The question is, do you want to get married now? I get that she wants her dad walk her the aisle. And yes, if you won't, she might never forgive you. But if you marry her while you are not ready, it is doomed anyway. You should propose only if you want to, not because only she wants to. Other way you will feel trapped. Don't allow someone who won't be alive for the divorce make the decision about when you get married. My dad died before I got married and I was sad on my wedding day that he wasn't there to walk me down the aisle. I still advise you not to get married just because he is dying. Don't get married until you are ready to get married. I'm F28, having trouble forgiving my fiance, M35. How do I move forward? I am a real estate agent who loves a good fixer-upper. I offered to renovate a property of my fiance's, with no charge to him, so that he could get top dollar for it. The project was a much larger undertaking than I expected, but I had the time and flexibility. I looked at it as a great learning opportunity for myself and a way to make his life less stressful. He has a very demanding job and never could have done it on his own. When the renovation was completed and it came time to list the house, he wanted to sell it FSBO. It's a special property on a very busy street. We live in a small town where it's very difficult to get your foot in the door selling high-end real estate unless you're from here, which I'm not, or have an opportunity like this. The sale would have been huge for my career. When I told him how hurt and offended I was, especially after all I had done to help him, he just got defensive and said his reason was to save money. I explained to him how much the house meant to me and how it would help my career tremendously, but he didn't seem to care. I even offered to do the deal for free, leaving him with nothing but the brokerage fee, but even then he wouldn't budge. It never dawned on me that he wouldn't use me as the listing agent. I thought he would have been excited for me to list it. I'm so hurt and don't know if I can get past this. For me, it goes far beyond the sale of the home. It's the principle. How could someone that loves me so much not want to see me reap the rewards of something I work so hard for? It's been months since the house sold and I still have trouble accepting it. I'm turning to Reddit for outsiders' opinions. A little bit background information. The property consisted 7 units. One of which was a short-term rental managed by a company. The other 6 units I managed myself to save him time and money. I did this all for free because he's my fiance. I wanted to help him assuming he wanted to help me when the time came. I do well financially, but he's 7 years older than me and makes a lot more than I do given he's had more time to establish his career than I have. I mean, you can't really forgive someone who isn't actually asking for your forgiveness. He hasn't apologized and doesn't seem to believe he's done anything wrong. It sounds to me like he isn't trying to build a life and a future with you. Otherwise it wouldn't matter if he paid you a fee from the sale, because ultimately that would be shared money once you marry and would benefit both of you since it would help your career. Also, on a purely practical level, renovating the house increased its value, so a reasonable person would at least pay you for that. Does he have a habit of being selfish and dismissive of you? I can't imagine this as an isolated incident. He doesn't love you. He loves what you can do. He cares more about money than people, so do with that what you will, but it'll never be what you want, especially if you keep making assumptions for decent behavior instead of communicating expectations. Sounds like he doesn't consider your partnership the same way that you do. He used you. Do not marry this one. On the plus side, you learned where his loyalties are before you said I do. This is the same partnership you can expect from your future with him. He used you. Unfortunately, you let him. You were a property manager for free. You renovated the homes for free. He is looking to cut costs. You helped him. You got $0 for all the hard work and money you saved him. You got a taste of what it'll be like. Don't get married to someone this selfish. My M30 wife, F30, said she's seeing me as more of a friend lately. Hey guys. On mobile editing format it probably not great. Last night my M30 wife, F30, together 5 years married almost 2 years, told me she's loving me more as a friend lately. I can honestly say this isn't a huge shock to me. There were absolutely signs, lack of intimacy, romance, etc. We had a talk about it last evening, and while I validate her feelings and don't necessarily blame her for feeling this way, I'm pretty crushed. I love this woman and I'm really not sure what to do at this point. We've collectively made the decision to try and work through this as a team, but I'm really not sure what my part will be in this effort. I try to be affectionate, do nice things for her, surprise her with gifts from time to time, cook meals for her, husband things. I understand there could be some physical attraction component to this as I have gained a good amount of weight. That's a relatively straightforward fix though. Not that losing weight is simple, but it is easy to understand the correct recipe for that diet plus exercise. She also hasn't explicitly said this is the cause of it, but I'm not sure whether that is to just protect my feelings or not. I'm looking for advice on where to turn next. Of course I know we should have the love languages talk, but she's not really sure what her love language is. It's important to note that our relationship is overall pretty healthy. We support each other, split responsibilities, essentially don't argue, and truly get along pretty well. On paper, a pretty picture-perfect relationship. I know there is always the chance that I'm simply not her person, but this isn't a reality I'm ready to accept yet. I want to work through this with her and she's willing to try and work through it together as well in a healthy way, whether that means falling back in love or moving on from each other. Reddit. What are your thoughts? Did you ask her what that meant? Lack of attraction or what? I'd ask her directly so you don't go around guessing and see if can be corrected, whether it's your weight or something else. So what I believe is that the honeymoon phase, the infatuation, the spark, those feelings have started to fade, and that's normal in a marriage after a while and it can be revived. I think you guys have gotten very used to each other now and have reached a sort of homeostasis. I feel like too many marriages are destroyed because of those feelings fading. The only issue I see here is the lack of intimacy. Sit her down and ask her to be blunt about why that's happened. If you feel the same way, communicate. As for the romance part, both of you may need to put in the extra effort to do so now that those feelings are ebbing right now, but this is where the work comes in anyway. I think you need to ask her why she thinks she's feeling that way. You don't know what to fix if she doesn't explicitly say, you know? It's really good that you guys are already talking openly about it, that will go a long way. Just remain open and honest in your communication. Ask her what she needs from you to help rekindle things. And is there anything you need from her as well? Now would be the time to bring that up. Start the diet and exercise. And then go back to being romantic. Schedule occasional date nights. I had the same thing happen. Get in shape. It'll automatically catch her eye, but more importantly it'll give you confidence. If you know you're looking good, and can serve up some powerful loving, she won't want to be friends for long. The child, 3M, I babysit doesn't want to leave me, 44F, now. I am a 44-year-old stay-at-home mom. I have 3 children. A boy, 21M, and 2 girls, 23F and 19F. I have been a housewife since the beginning of my marriage. I got bored when my children grew up, so I started babysitting as a hobby because I love children and you can earn a little money just by taking care of children. I babysit one child at a time, so I can fully focus on that child. I babysit the kids at our house, meaning people bring their babies here and take them home when they get home. It's like daycare. So this baby came here when he was 6 months old. His mother is a full-time office worker, so she needed a babysitter, and she got my contacts from the mother of the child I used to babysit before. Their family is well off without her work, but she loved her job and wanted to keep it going. Every day she brings him here at 8 a.m. and takes him home at 5 p.m., sometimes stretching to 7 p.m. He does not come here on Sunday. Since his grandparents live nearby, he also spends most of his time with them. He spends so little time with his real parents. My husband and children also play with him and take him to different places with them. It's like we're his second family. The baby is now 3 years old and does not want to leave me. He has also bonded with my children. He has no siblings, but now they are like his siblings. He knows I am not his real mother, but he still doesn't want to let me go. Lately, he leaves my house crying every day. His mother told me that he calls me even in his sleep. She is really worried now. This has happened before, but not to this extent. I am also very worried. I'm here for some advice. Is there any way I can improve this situation from my end? This is common. Nothing can be done. It'll happen no matter where mom takes baby as long as the caregiver is a good caregiver. Don't stop babysitting because it would be too traumatic. He is bonded with you. Mom needs to quit pawning him her baby with her parents. It would go a long way if she kept him on the weekends at least. Where is the father in all this? You put a lot of focus on the mom choosing not to abandon her career and become a som like you, but since you mentioned parents as in plural, where is the dad? In any case, if this is real and not some fabrication written by a conservative who wants to push the narrative that a woman's purpose is staying home to raise kids, the real answer is straightforward. Both parents need to spend more time with their kid and the kid needs to spend less time with you. The change has to be done slowly and gradually so the kid can adjust. This is for the kid's parents to fix, not you. Just keep being a supportive resource for them. The mom needs to cut back on her hours. She'll either figure that out or she won't, but there is nothing that needs to change on your end. You aren't the problem here. The biological mom is a jerk. She is willingly breaking her bond with her child so she can have me time. The best you could do is convince her to actually be a mother to her own child. But I don't see how you can do that. It's like trying to convince an addict to stop drinking because it is hurting people around her. She needs an intervention.